this on a video and audio?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He gave us a thumbs up.
Great. Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Top 9 Podcast. I'm Tom Cassidy. With me until she quits or gets fired is Adele Carollo.
Hi, I'm still here. How's it going, guys?
Still kicking. Our guest today is a controversial figure in the New York City comedy community.
I'm a little nervous.
He has been attacked by several comedians.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And even tenants in his building. Some call him angry, others...
Provocateur.
That's what the non-detractors say, yes. I just call him funny. Kevin Brennan,
Wow.
Everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, welcome. Yes, very funny. I'll say that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Kevin says you don't talk to him at the stand. Is that true, Kevin?
I'm intimidated by Adele, but listen.
That's impossible. Touche.
I'll just say this. Adele, I did have a nice moment with Adele one time when Dave Attell made Adele throw me out of the room.
I saw that. I was there that night.
Because I was recording him play his recorder. I
Oh
never
my
saw
God.
it before.
Yes.
He gets super spooked with recording his material, so
No,
I'm like,
he
on
knows
it
I
for
would never do it, but I was
anybody.
just making fun of him because he's been shitting on me for what, 30 years, and
Something
now
like
he's
that.
got a fucking musical instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Greg Giraldo's literally spinning in his fucking grave. Because I used to do a joke where I would go, you know those Publishers Clearinghouse,
Yeah.
the big envelopes.
Mhm.
I used to use that as an opening joke for a while, and but it was hard because I would carry it around and it would get all destroyed. Anyway, so I remember Giraldo said something one time like, it's one fucking joke, and I start my set with it. It's like, look, I'm a winner. I forget the joke, but basically I'm a winner, making fun of it. So it's for Attell to be playing a fucking musical instrument like he's Gallagher.
Well, it happened in a pandemic. It was only because of the pandemic that this even came to be.
Well,
What,
he
the
was doing-
recorder?
He was doing
Yeah,
that
he
before
got-
No, he
that.
was doing it
Yeah.
before the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, that's when you threw me out. It was right before the
It
pandemic.
was literally the Friday before everything shut
It
down.
was?
Yeah.
Oh.
I remembered it was weird.
All right, so
Yeah.
it was close in time. I don't know. I got my.
But what's he
timeline
do with
wrong.
it?
He plays it and works it into his act. It's really funny. People really enjoy it. As soon as he pulls it out, people start to laugh and giggle because it's nostalgic and they think it's ridiculous and it's silly.
Yeah, but what is it? He plays
They
it
love it.
properly?
No, not properly.
So he's not trained at all.
not trained.
I
So
know
you
in high
made-
school he played the buffoon.
That's what makes it funny.
That's one of his jokes. In high school he played
If
I
you're
played
not
the
familiar
buffoon.
with Kevin Brennan, this is what you can expect from this episode. He doesn't care. Some people would.
I
be
mean, if
scared.
it's
Is it
Attell, how
Attell?
can I care? And the fact that Attell said he said have him thrown out, and I had to delete the recording. Adele deleted it, but the fact that
very protective
he's
of
my
Dave,
oldest oldest friend in
his
comedy, and he had me thrown out of a room I was just performed in.
Mhm.
So that's the
He-
first time for me on that.
I'm super.
And then you
he-
performed upstairs after they kicked you out of the downstairs.
I favorite him a lot. I'm sorry. It's true.
They threw me. I performed upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to do
After you were
a
kicked
set.
out,
I
yeah.
didn't remember
And
that
since
part.
that night you performed, oh, not yet. Pandemic. You have to come back. Can you come back this weekend?
Is it open?
Yeah, it's just open. A month ago. Come this weekend.
Kevin just woke up from a coma.
I didn't just wake up. Oh yeah, I'm Rip Van
Yeah.
fucking dickhead.
Yep. Today, we're gonna try to get him to do it, but so I think one of the reasons Kevin is the way he is that he's from a big Irish Catholic family of 10 children. So he's
It'll fuck you up.
uh-huh.
Look at the Jacksons.
Oh, look at the camera. You're a podcast superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at the Jacksons. The Jacksons had all that
Sure.
talent, all that money, and they still self-destructed because it's
Uh-huh.
hard to maintain it. Speaking of which, we might be getting Whitney Cummings' sister on an upcoming episode of Misery Loves Company.
Of Kevin Brennan's podcast, Misery Loves Company, which is one of the best podcasts ever. Okay, so this is Kevin Brennan's top 9 siblings.
Siblings.
In order that I appreciate?
Yes, so 9 would be your least favorite. Now, before we get into it, you.
No, we do my favorite, then least favorite.
That's why. What are you talking
Because
about?
there's no suspense then. I got to say Neil's my least favorite, and then who cares about the rest?
So
Maybe Neil's not ninth.
that would be fun. Maybe there is somebody.
Yeah,
like
maybe there is.
a sister or something that
No.
you're strangely attracted to, and I don't know.
Yeah, I did. I used to have dreams about one of my sisters.
I remember
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry for you.
Now wait a minute. Let's just
No,
paint it.
wet dreams, and it was always the same sister.
Thank you for clarifying.
Wow.
All right, wait. Just to paint a picture.
Trying to get Adele nervous because she fucking threw me out of her own
Great. I'm
comedy
so
club.
scared for the next 55 minutes.
He's a big pussy cat.
Yeah,
Listen.
I won't hurt anybody. The people will hurt me.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
I can name a few. But okay, you were initially born in Chicago, right?
Right.
And then the family moved to Philadelphia.
We were born. I was born in Chicago. Then we moved to New York. Then we moved back to Chicago. Then Philadelphia. Then back to Chicago, and then back to Philadelphia.
So
Wow.
wait. And how old were you when you lived in New York?
I was a baby.
Okay.
I was like, they moved there yeah, I was a kid. But I
Okay.
remember one time walking home by myself from because my older brother and sister were going to the Catholic school, and I was at the public school, and I remember walking home by myself, like in kindergarten. And then I also remember there was like we lived in like Westchester, Tuckahoe, whatever. I vividly remember my mom saying we had to go inside because there was like a kidnapper in the neighborhood, and then my mom said, "See if he's still out there, Kevin." I'm not even kidding. Like I vividly remember this shit. I was like, well, somebody was expendable because at that point,
your love is spread thin with 10 kids.
yeah.
It's spread
So
thin.
they only have.
Somebody's
I know.
suffering. Somebody's getting
I know.
left
That's
out.
what I was gonna say about people like Jesus loves everybody. It's like I'm one of 10. My mom doesn't even love everybody. So there's no way Jesus loves everybody because just don't have the time.
You don't
Yes.
have the time.
And that's why you have a contentious relationship with your mother to this day. But we
Still.
don't have enough time to get into that. So you're.
I haven't spoken to my mother since last October.
It's a long time,
oh,
folks.
that's a long time, but at least
So
it's not like
his
20
wife
years
still
onwards.
talks to her. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah, she
Good.
calls my wife.
Okay, good.
my wife talks to her.
Good.
Because
There's
they're both
contact.
Libras or whatever the fuck they are. Whatever November is, they're both
Right.
that.
So we're all 12 of you traveling this whole time? Like, were you picking
12.
up the
Were
whole...
you including the mother and the father?
Of course.
Yeah,
Who would think
back
of
in-
Well,
moving
we
up
weren't
the
all
children?
born the same time, but
Oh, okay. So you're
At
moving.
the beginning,
How'd
we
you
were
pick up and
moving.
leave? Like in a van, in a plane?
yeah, like the
How'd you-
Partridge Family. No, we would go. When we moved to Chicago. I was born in Chicago, and I think my brother was born in Chicago. Then we moved to New York just for a couple of years. Then we moved back to Chicago for a couple of years, and then we moved to Philadelphia. We stayed there the longest.
Yes. And now when you moved to Philadelphia, how old were you? Around
I was 9.
9 years old. Okay, so
Okay,
yeah, you
that's-
grew
you
up in
remember.
Philadelphia.
I would live there from 9 to 18.
And now you were.
No, longer because my family moved. Here's such a dick move. Because this is what I really want to give my mom shit for. When I was senior in high school, I remember I came home one night from a night of wicked partying. No, I mean I just came home one night, and my older sister Sheila, she's a year older than me. She's crying. She's crying in the kitchen, crying by herself. I go, "What's going on?" She goes, "Something terrible happened." I go, "Somebody died?" She goes, "No, we're moving." So she was already in Drexel. You know Drexel. Anyway,
Sure.
she was a freshman in Drexel, so it really didn't affect her that much.
Yeah.
But I was a senior in high school, so it did affect me. And here's the deal that my parents had was that you couldn't go away to school. They wouldn't pay for it. So you had to go to school locally. So if I wanted to go to school in Philadelphia, I was going to have to pay because now they're going to live in Chicago.
Gotcha.
So, but then that rule changed.
Yeah, later on. for
Yeah,
the older
with the
kids.
younger kids, that rule changed because then
The rules always fade to the younger kids.
my brother
it's
went to
another thing.
Marquette, and we never lived in Milwaukee. Neal went to fucking NYU. I asked my dad. It was like 25 grand or for a semester or
Sure
for
was.
probably for the half, maybe for the whatever. Anyway, I said, you're paying for fucking Neal to go to NYU? I go, what?
Now you're like 30 at this point, right?
Yeah. And then I said, and he goes, well, I'm getting points on my American Express card. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
You demanded how much money from him?
1,500.
1,500.
And they sent it, but
Wrote you
maybe
a check.
1,200.
Now your
Yeah.
father was a lawyer, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Your mother was a housewife.
That's a nice term for it.
Okay.
I didn't always get along with my dad either.
No.
Neal's first memory.
I remember that one, Mike. I heard about him.
Neal's first memory as a person is me and my dad rolling around on the floor fighting.
Fighting, real
yeah.
fighting?
Yeah, on the floor. Like we would get in like fights where we'd be fighting, and Neal just came out of his study
My
and he was
first-
like, "Oh, look, one of my brothers and my dad are fighting on
What?
the ground, rolling around the ground,
like actually fighting, not
yeah,
play-
like wrestling, like we took each other down.
yeah.
What's
It was
the
not-
split with boys and girls? What's your
6 boys, 4 girls.
All right,
Okay,
it's
now this
almost
is a good
even.
place to start, I think.
Yeah.
So, not
So my
I'll
mom,
give you
but the thing
okay,
was,
go
it was
ahead.
never addressed. It was never addressed, like where we changed the rules about college because I had a. So I want to go to St. Joe's, but my parents were like, "No, you got to go to school in Chicago." And then I'm like, "I don't know anybody in Chicago." So because you're moving, I'm fucked.
Mhm.
And the basically the rules are changed because I want to go to school in Philadelphia where you would pay, but if I go to school in Philadelphia now, I have to pay, or else I have to fucking live at home in Chicago.
Start your senior year somewhere else. No.
I'd be a freshman in college, so I'd have no
Uh-huh.
social. I'd have to live at home. My brother would be my roommate. That'd be a great fucking
So
time.
what'd you do?
Huh?
Did you stay
So
in
I told.
Philadelphia?
I think
I mean, take a little pushback. You could be a man and pay your own college tuition.
No, I did. That's what I did. I got to. And then another thing was, I was just literally thinking about this today. Another thing, maybe because you made me get my list ready.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing was, then they moved in the summer. Me and my brother Joe drove the family car from Philly to Chicago, and then my brother Joe, who was going to St. Joe's, he was going to be a senior. He was allowed to go back early because he had to get his apartment, whatever. I had no fucking housing. I had nothing, but I had to move back. I had to stay with the family.
Now, is Joe younger or older than
No,
you?
he's old. He was a he was a
interesting.
senior in
Plot
college,
twist.
and I was going to be a freshman.
Yeah.
But I had to stick around in Chicago, and I was like, I had no housing, and it was just a shit show. So at one point, I told my dad I was going to firebomb the house, the new house.
Mm-hmm.
So he kicked me out of the house that night. I had to fucking take a cab to O'Hare, hang out all night, waiting for the first flight to Philadelphia, and then that was when you
Did
could
you have like a Molotov cocktail with you or something?
then you
when
could
said this to
I
your
remember.
father?
No, I just remember literally.
Did you mean it when you
I had
threatened it?
no, I didn't. I had no access to any bombs or whatever.
Total bluff.
Yeah. So I didn't even know a firebomb. I didn't even know it was firebomb.
I understand. You were a writer even back then.
Yeah. So then I remember sitting at O'Hare Airport and then waiting for the first flight, and no sleep. So then that was when the plane would take off, and like once it got to a cruising altitude, you could light up. I was in smoking, of course,
Oh yeah.
because I was a
The
smoker.
70s, baby.
I was a smoker, and I remember just smoking on no sleep and probably hadn't eaten anything. I was like gonna throw up from the cigarette. I was like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get my shit together. And then the whole freshman year was a shit show and whatever. Anyway, that's what. But now looking back, it's like they have no fucking regard for you.
Yeah.
Like they're like your family unit. Whatever's good for the family is good for you, and if it's not, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's like being in the army.
And it seems as though they
They're
favored.
in charge. Parents are in charge.
No,
They-
but it's not parents are in charge. I'm in charge of my kids, but it's like it's you don't give a shit. Like I sometimes care about what my kids wants and desires are. My parents are like, we don't give a fuck. They never said that, but then as as
There
kids.
was 10 of you. How are they going to care about
No,
all
but
of
as
you?
kids, the point is, as kids start to move out, then they're like, we will pay. You can go to. My brother Danny went to Fordham, and they lived in Philadelphia, so he had to get housing and all this shit. So
All
it was
right,
just
let's
a
get to know
complete,
these guys. Who
Huh?
are you? Let's talk about your siblings. I want to get.
Danny hates Neal too. Danny and Neal are the
All right,
ninth and tenth.
save the dish for the list, sister.
Whoa.
Okay, so it seemed as though they favored the older people in some instances and the younger people. Part of the problem with having 10 children, too, is it changes how kids are raised over, like, decades, and you're so far apart from your younger siblings that they treated them differently just based off of the time they were born, almost.
Well, you know, the fucked up thing is, if you saw Neal Brennan's Three Mics, Neal told a lot of stories about my dad, you know, which is basically like Neal, you know, my dad was a bully and Neal was a victim, but it's like, I mean, on some level, he's probably right. I hate to say it because it's like, the good thing about being one of 10 is like, they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't, the oldest and second oldest, they were like, hey, why don't you go to college? Why don't you get married? I was the third oldest, and by the time I got to me, they were like, "We don't give a fuck what you do," you know.
Yeah.
Like I had a girlfriend that was half Asian, and because I met her here at the comedy club, and Adele was like, "You're gonna bring her home." You're gonna bring her home? He goes, you should have like her carry like a thing of rice on her head.
Mhm.
Because it was so like exotic, you know.
Sure, I understand.
Because
what you're saying.
but when we grew up, there was no Asian people or whatever. I mean, except at the chop suey place. But I'm
Well,
saying,
in
but I'm
Philadelphia,
saying,
they were all in Chinatown.
yeah. So, but if they weren't around, you had no access to them.
So
I'm
you were breaking the mold.
In the
No, it
were,
was just like at that
switching it
point
up.
they were like, yeah, if my oldest brother would have brought home like a half Asian girlfriend, they would have been like, we don't know.
I
But
got you.
by the time they got to me,
you.
they're like, we don't care if you get married. We don't care if you know if your girlfriend's a fucking
All in the
communist.
Family was no longer on television at the time. Now we have to.
I know you're
get
trying to insult me with these
into-
references. I don't.
No,
I'm
later
old. I
on
don't
in
even give a
life.
fuck. Go to my Wikipedia. I'm fucking old. I don't give a shit. I used to hide about it. And I'm like, go.
You look-
Yeah,
you look
shame
great.
me.
I'm
I
not
look
shaming
amazing.
you. You're 61.
Somebody says, what? Somebody said the other day, he goes, well, the guy at the Comedy Cellar, he goes, where's some sunblock? I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, I give a fuck about sunblock. Like, that's the
Yeah.
issue.
You got to be careful.
Like,
though,
that's
with
what I
that.
got to worry about.
We're
I would love to
Irish.
get fucking skin cancer.
Okay. Well, listen, this is Kevin Brennan's top 9 siblings. Kevin, so wait, before we get into it, do you want to do number 1, your favorite first? Because we can do it differently for you because you're a special person.
Yeah, I'll do my favorite is Tom. He's the closest to me in age.
Okay,
We were
number
like-
1.
We were roommates.
Kevin's favorite sibling is Tom Brennan.
Is Tom Brennan. Tell us about him.
Closest. Now,
Why?
is he older or
I'm
younger?
not telling. Barbara Walters over here.
That's what I told her today.
I'm going to start crying.
If we
Don't
get
make
that-
me cry. Don't make me cry.
Tom older or
You're
younger
you
than
Downs, and she's Barbara Walters. They used to do a show together.
I love it. Okay, guess what? We have less than 60 minutes now because we had to
What?
go through that fucking sordid backstory, which I'm glad we did.
Backstory. We needed the backstory.
Number
It's
one.
good.
I'm just
saying,
I feel
it's
like
a
I know
shit
you better
show.
now.
Your favorite sibling is Tom.
Yeah.
Is he a little younger or a little older?
He's 1 year younger.
Okay, that's
One and a
nice.
half. At one point, they had 4 kids in 4 years. They had-
Irish twins.
but
as
it
we
was like
say.
January, May, August, October. So it was like it was never like it was always like a year plus.
Yeah.
So my mom was a total whore. So they would always be like what is that? 6. Yeah, they used like 16 months. So Tommy was like, I was born in May. Tommy was born in August.
She wasn't a whore. She was having sex with her husband a lot.
You know, what I think it was. You know,
It's amazing.
it's hot.
Yeah, it's a healthy sex.
Mm.
I don't
They
know.
just
Anyway, I
weren't
think- I
using
think
birth
what-
control.
It's just,
I think what
mass
happened was
production.
I think what happened
No
was my
birth
dad
control.
would come
Don't
home.
talk over our guests.
Okay.
What happened? If she quits, you have no show.
That's so true. And keep going.
I'll get some other fucking dumb broad. What are you talking about? How many
This
co-hosts
hot,
have you
this
gone
hot,
through?
please.
He's trying to
Guys.
fuck you now.
No, I'm happily
Where
married.
did this go?
Where'd the
we
ring
were
go?
just
I must have
cracking
fallen off
into
the
it.
must have fallen off the
It
train.
was just about to go up. I'm so interested. Let's keep talking.
I know. I apologize. I was just
So,
kidding. I just had
uh,
to match his fucking
so
dickheadedness. Go ahead.
so we have 4. So what was I saying?
Tom Brennan.
Your mom's a
Yeah.
whore.
So no, what
That
happened? I think
too.
what happened was my dad would come home and have a couple of drinks. You know,
Uh-huh.
like he
Yeah.
My sister said my aunt revisionist. He was an alcoholic, but he wasn't because he never was drunk. I mean, he might have got drunk. Like sometimes he would come home from like business
You'd
dinners.
know if he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, but he never missed a day of work. He never
wasn't
slept
then.
in.
Functioning alcoholic.
No, beyond
No.
functioning.
Okay.
And plus, he ended up rich. So
Pretty good.
alcoholics don't have any money when they die. So he would come home. He would make like a Manhattan. I don't know if you guys know what a Manhattan is.
Yeah, and he'd get hot for your mom.
No, but I think he would have like he would have
I
like
can see this.
he would have a
happening.
double Manhattan. He would make like a thing, and he would put in the
Uh-huh,
thing.
Stir it.
And then he would
Pour it over?
pour it, and then
Yeah.
he would pour himself like another one. Then he would have a
she would take a sip and
no,
go,
no, it's not Mad Men. Jesus Christ! I wish they were all like, "Hey, you kids, let's
Why?
go to
So you
fucking
could watch you and
Cancun."
your
No, they wouldn't.
parents have
They wouldn't
sex?
have. It wouldn't have been. It would have been cooler.
Okay.
No, he would drink by himself. My mom never fucking drank. Anyway,
Sip. That's why I say a sip. and she would get
no,
all
she wasn't
loose.
sitting on his lap and having a fucking sip.
That's what I was imagining.
She had to cook
She had a
dinner for
Shirley
10
Temple.
people, for 12
Uh-huh.
people.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so he would have like 2 Manhattans, and then he would have a beer at dinner with a frosted glass. We had to put his glass in
Ooh, I
the freezer, so it would be
There
frosted.
was a respect for the
Like
father back then
king.
that no longer
He would beat
exists.
us anyway. So
Well,
if
that's
we
where the
didn't,
respect came from.
so then he would have, and then he would just like read or whatever. He didn't do it. He didn't talk to any of us. But then he would. But I think he would get a
The
little.
newspaper.
I think no, like a he would bring the newspaper home. We would read that, but he would read a book or whatever. But then I think he would get a little buzz on, and then when they went to bed early. I don't know. I never heard them fuck, but anyway, but I think he would get a litw buzz on. Then my mom wouldn't say no to him, and then she would just, and then she was a good Catholic. I mean, really, there's a different term for it now. I call it dumb cunt, but she was a good Catholic. Can we take that out? She was a good Catholic, and so she never took care of the business because
So
that's
what
a
does
sin
any of
against
this
Jesus.
have
And birth control is a no too, not just abortions. Like you're not supposed to take birth control.
No, you're not even
Hardcore
supposed to like
Catholic.
even do rhythm. Like you're not even supposed to like you're.
I didn't know that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think
You're not supposed to enjoy it.
No, rhythm is like time your period.
Oh, got
So
it.
that's what. So I think you're not even
You're
supposed to do that. I think she tried to. My sister Sheila, who might make the list. My sister Sheila, she said at one point after the 10th kid, she saw condoms in my dad's drawer. I don't know why she was in my dad's drawer, but
We all go in our parents' drawers, right?
So what does any of this have to do with Tom?
because it was 14 months. So
we were
I'm
talking about
saying,
how close in age they
yeah,
are.
Why
for
do you
4
like
years.
your
I
brother
mean,
Tom the most?
imagine having 4 kids in 4 years.
That's a lot.
Bang,
of
bang,
kids.
but all in this one grade, 4 consecutive
Can't
grades.
imagine.
It's crazy.
So he was your
Truly.
bestie. He was like your
Yeah,
twin.
because he was my roommate. We were roommates. Because my oldest brother and sister, they got their own room because they were the king and the queen,
Mhm.
and I was the third, so I always had a roommate.
Mhm.
And
That
Tom
makes
was my
sense.
roommate. It
What-
doesn't make sense because
It
they
does
get their
make
own room and I
sense.
don't.
Yes.
So I'm the beginning of the middle kids.
And
where
you showered with
people have
Tom
no
as
regret.
well.
Yeah, me, Joe, and Tom used to shower together.
Okay, it's interesting. Maybe Tom had the nicest dick, and that's why he's number one.
No, it was literally like it was so stupid
Are we
because
going to be describing your sibling's penis right now?
no,
Okay.
they
You
were
scared
all
me.
kids.
Yeah, okay, you
My
scared
mom,
me.
I asked my mom later. She goes, "I just like to know that you guys were all. I knew where you all were at the time."
Mm-hmm.
So my brother, I would stand in the middle, and when you're standing in the middle in the back, you just get sprayed. It's not hot water; it's miserable. So we had to wait for my brother to finish, my oldest brother Joe. Then I would get a turn, and Tommy would wait the whole time for 2 dudes to take a shower, and like I would have said, like, can I
selfless
just, can
brother, and that's why he's coming in at number one.
No, I would have said, like, can I just come in later? Can you guys just let me know? Like, maybe if 10 minutes I'll
He
come
had
in.
patience. He
But
waited.
he would stand there and complain. He wouldn't complain with Joey because Joey was the oldest. But he would complain with me, be like, Kevin, hurry up, it's cold back
because he
here.
had been waiting now, a whole
I know.
person.
No, I agree. It's terrible. I don't know how we put up with it.
That little pecker rubbing against your butt.
No, they were all kids. We didn't. I mean, at one point Joey stopped. I think because he was growing pubic hair.
That's fair. I think that's a good
And then
sign.
another
Time.
pubic hair
Stop.
story. A guy across the street, Bill Graves, who I'm still friends with. At one point, we went to the pool, and you had to take a shower either after you went to the pool, the public pool, or before it. So we had to take a shower, and Bill Graves had pubic hair, and I didn't. And me and Bill were like literally the same age. We're like a week apart in age. He is May 2nd. I'm May 2nd. He's May 9th. Anyways, my brother Tom goes, "How come Billy has pubic hair and you don't?" I go, "I don't know." I go, "Why don't you have pubic hair?" He goes, "Well, you guys are older than me." So he always had me like, "You're old." Like it was almost like we were twins.
Yeah,
And like he didn't have pubic, but you came out first, so you're older.
sure.
So, but I should be embarrassed that I don't have pubic. It's like it never ends. And Tommy and Joe used to call me movie star fingernails because I use a nail clipper to, because they used to bite their nails. My brother Tommy used to bite his toenails. He would shove his fucking foot in
That's
his
something
mouth.
only siblings know about each other.
No, he would shove his foot in his dirty foot in his mouth.
Well, that's
Hi.
enough fun facts about number one, Tom.
Tom.
Coming in at number two.
I'd say Danny.
Okay, Danny.
Me and Danny we've been talking lately. He did my podcast recently,
He
and
did.
he was.
Now, I don't want to stay on Tom, but what does Tom do now?
I don't even know.
Okay, fair enough. Now,
He's
Danny,
I guess he's kind of retired or something.
Danny is more Neal's age, right?
Yeah, they're 9th and 10th, so they should be tight.
Neal's his Tom.
Yeah,
Fair
except they're 2 years apart, not
Mhm.
1 year apart.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had to take a break after fucking.
And they were tight until whatever, until I don't know exactly what year, but they, they used to, because they were in the house by themselves at the end. The 9th and 10th, everybody was gone except those two.
Yeah. Now is Danny number 2 because he doesn't like Neal?
I don't know, Danny. Danny is. I've never really. I mean, Danny's. I've had issues with Danny over the years, but I've never really had like horrible. Listen. No, I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna, we can't. It's gonna take forever if you psychoanalyze every decision I make.
Well, talk about Danny. Your like earliest memories with him.
Probably Danny, because I've spoken to him recently.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. And he was like an actor. He tried, right?
Yeah.
He was in New York.
Yeah.
How
So
did
you
the
guys-
family get into entertainment business? Like, who sparked
Who?
it? Who started?
Kevin, of course.
Oh.
Neil did. Neil when he was 5. He was a.
Yeah.
He was
I
a.
knew it
he
wasn't
was a,
him,
Michael
He was a
Jackson.
but
kid
it's
actor.
sounding like there were other siblings
what
that
happened
pursued
was-
acting.
what happened was-
so I'm finding this out. I knew it was you before Neil.
No, you know what happened?
What? Ooh, good.
Whoa. You know what happened was I was
This guy's really got it today.
I was in Chicago. We had. I forget exactly what happened. We moved to Chicago, and my brother Joe, the oldest, was a professional tour caddy.
Mhm.
So I remember
It's
he,
a
the
little
guy.
bit of show.
Yeah, the guy. No, he would get on TV, and he
Oh.
always knew where the camera was. So he would always he'd stand where the camera would
He's
he
a
just
natural.
yeah. So that's
Irish
so,
people like attention.
I don't know. Anyway, so everybody would get it like there he is. So I think maybe that might have planted a seed in my head. And
Yeah.
then Letterman show was just starting, and then that was when people were saying you're funny. Like I was working at this restaurant, and this one waitress. And she didn't want to fuck me or anything. She was married, but she's like, "You're funny. You should be a comedian." I was like, "Really?" And that's when Letterman was starting. So I was like, And then I started watching Letterman. I'm like, "Yeah, I think I could
Yeah,
do that."
those late night sets are. You get inspired. You're like, I could do that.
No, but late night. Even that's the best show of all time.
Well, his
late.
monologues too. Everything.
No,
what
no,
does
no,
this
the-
have
the-
to do with Danny?
No, the early Letterman, like the first 3 years of
Oh.
Letterman is the greatest show of all time on NBC, and that's what
That's
sparked the
sparked
interest.
it.
'Cause
groundbreaking.
No, because it was all ridiculous. The whole thing was like a shit show.
Mhm.
Chris Elliott.
Love him.
If you get a chance, I'm talking to people out there. Go to YouTube and put in Chris Elliott being Jay Leno. It's fucking brilliant. Chris Elliott, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Chris Elliott doing Jay Leno on the Letterman show.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond.
Forget
Anyway, it's
about
like,
it.
huh?
So Danny comes in at number 2.
Yeah, are we done yet?
No, we have a half an
7
hour
more.
left. You've only
Oh,
talked
we could
about.
do like a
You
rapid.
said 2 siblings, and you haven't really said anything about either of them.
Okay, so
no,
who
I
cares?
got some tidbits.
don't.
I do.
Yeah, so Danny. So then I started. Then I went into show business, and then. But Danny and Neil were way younger. So when I moved to New York, then they would come up and visit me, and they would go to the Improv. I used to work the door of the Improv, so I could kind of, and I was past there anyway, so I could. They would come up on like a weekend, and I would take them, and then Rob Williams would go in a lot. Rob Williams was there all the time when that was
Rest
happening.
in peace. I've heard Danny is the most attractive. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, Danny's tall. Like Danny's like 6'4",
Wow.
and yeah, he was the good looking one. I think Neil has a little bit of a thing with Danny because Danny was always like the good looking one,
Mhm.
and Neil looks like a sick vegan bird. So
There's always the good-looking one in a big.
so
I would
Danny
hope so. 10 of them. I hope.
and Danny was Danny was more athletic. So
Mhm.
I think Neil had a little bit of resentment towards maybe that, and then so when Neil got a chance to like, hey, I'm friends with Dave Chappelle, and isn't it a joy that fucking John Legend's wife is getting taken down?
I knew you would enjoy that.
Wow, she's such a cunt. She's such a gigantic.
You've been ahead
cunt.
of the curve on a few things, and that's
Oh
one of them.
God damn it. Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna
This is-
cut that out.
So when they went to New
No,
York,
we're
they
not
got
cutting
the
anything
bug.
out.
They were super inspired, and that's
No,
how
they
that-
no,
if it
they
wasn't
didn't.
for Kevin Brennan, the Chappelle show would not exist.
No, they
Listen.
didn't. It wasn't like they got the bug. They
Yes,
just.
it would.
Danny was going to. I guess Danny was going to Fordham up here, and then Neil went to NYU for one semester that my dad got points for, and then he dropped out, and then Jason Steinberg, who still is like, I think he's still whatchamacallit, Ashley
Manager?
Larry. What's Ashley Larry's name?
Darnell Rollins.
Darnell. I think
Yeah.
he's still Darnell's manager. I know he's Tony's manager still, but Jason Steinberg worked the door, at Boston. So he became friendly with Neal because when whatever. So then they got Neal the job working the door because he didn't have a job. You know, I mean, he wasn't going to school, but he was around. That's what happened. Yeah, he was at NYU, so he was already around. They already knew him. So when he dropped out of NYU, they just gave him they gave him a job there. They used to call him No Show Neal because there was never a show because you had to get people, you had to kind of bark
people in.
Yeah. So and some guys were, you know, Neal people don't gravitate towards
I
Neal.
did that for a bit.
Where?
For Broadway Comedy Club in 2010.
Yeah, it's not a fun gig.
It's not a fun thing.
I stood out front of the Village Lantern. We don't have time to talk about barking.
But Boston.
He was bad at it. I could see him.
Well, he was the
being bad at
manager.
it.
He was the manager. Well, he was like the doorman manager. So
No
you didn't have to
Neal.
do a lot of barking. I think you would basically have people bark, but
Boss the
they
barkers around.
the list of people that used to bark there,
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I used to bark at Boston Comedy. I guess Nate Bargatze did and Pete Holmes." It's like all the younger guys did. I was like, "That's a pretty good lineup."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
seriously.
bunch of episodes on the show Crashing, which you were in. Anyway, coming in at number 3 on your top 9
Favorite?
siblings. Yeah.
Let's go with Nora.
Nora, the first
Yeah.
woman making the
Yeah.
list. They say he's sexist. I don't know. She made the top 3. Younger or older?
Everybody's younger except Sheila and Joe.
Okay.
I'll
I'll note that.
Nora's the third youngest.
Okay. So you.
I almost threw up.
I don't know what that was.
That was a fucking Pepsi burp.
Holy
That was a
shit.
Pepsi burp.
My goodness.
No,
Okay.
so
That was the last
so
trace
Nora
of
was
COVID
like
you had in you.
Nora's like kind of like a tomboy because
Mhm.
we would always like the boys would always do stuff together. Like we would go we would even when I was older, like if I was home for Christmas, we would go bowling or whatever.
Mhm.
Like we used to live in Evanston at one point, and then Evanston's near Skokie, and Skokie's all Jewish, so they everything would be open.
Mhm.
So we would go bowling like on Christmas Day just to get out of the fucking house. But Nora would always go because she was kind of surrounded by boys. She was the last 4 kids, 3 are boys, and then Nora's stuck in there. And then me and Tom would go, whatever. So Nora was kind of like a good natured. She's a kind of a good sport.
Mhm.
And it's weird. She's married and she's got 2 sons. So she was well trained for like
She's
being surrounded by
being
boys.
a boy mom.
Yeah.
Sure.
She's ready for it. She's
Yeah.
like, hell yeah. Bring
And you
it
still
on.
get along with Nora now.
Well, my wife and Nora are tight. So
Okay.
so
Your wife is like the concierge.
yeah. My wife. Everybody likes my wife except for me.
Well, keep it
We haven't spoken since Thursday. Anyway.
You haven't
Long
spoken to your
weekends
wife
for-
since
Yeah,
Thursday?
since
Long
Thursday.
weekend for more than one reason.
That'll be interesting. It could be a nice game of telephone where your wife communicates with the rest of your family and maybe your son communicates with your wife to you.
Yeah, I was actually gonna tell my son, tell your mom I'm going to the city. But then she was like, "Where are you going?" Because she thought she had to do something. I said, "No, I have to do something for real."
Mm-hmm.
She had to go to the fucking store, stupid store, or whatever.
Fair enough.
Thanks
Well-
for being here.
So
I almost yeah, my marriage might be hinging on it.
We're happy you're
No,
here.
actually, it's
Yeah.
better. I think she was relieved when she said, "Well, what time you coming home?" I said, "Not till later tonight." I think she was like, "Thank fucking God."
she did a Pepsi burp sigh when
Yeah,
you
get
left.
this fucking. And I think they're all like, as soon as I leave, they're like, no, that's how we were. My dad would go to Australia for like business trips, and we would be like so fucking. We weren't smoking cigarettes, but like, I mean, literally, once it was like the fucking prison guard was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the feeling. Like once I leave, my wife is like, you know, of candy, whatever. There's no rules.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them.
Yep.
Yeah, let him
She
live.
invites her friend over.
I don't even let her fuck. I don't care. I at this point I bring it on. I had a lesbian girlfriend one time. I said, I know you're like you probably want some female action, right? So I said, if I'm on a road, just invite a woman over. I don't care. And
Seems
she
like
did.
a different type of cheating. Yeah.
No, but I'm like, I mean, should we break up because she wants to eat some snatch?
No, I don't think
Wh-
so.
So I'm like, hey,
know
so
what you were
that's
getting
how
into.
giving I am.
I never knew you went out with Ellen. That's cool.
Ella got canceled too. Another Neal friend. Nice.
Uh-huh. Well, Nora, that's nice because she's probably like a cute little girl too, and like she's younger than you, so you're like, oh, that's my
Who?
cute little sister, Nora.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, Nora's nice. Yeah.
Okay, coming in at number 4.
She lives in Philadelphia still.
God bless. Hey, Nora, come to my Punchline Philly show. Okay, so
We love Nora. Moving on.
Coming in at number 4.
It's gonna get rough now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the bad stuff. We gotta race.
I guess Joe. Let me pick Joe. He's the oldest.
Okay.
I mean, he's like retired now, and then he used to, when he retired, he was living in New Jersey, like Wayne, New Jersey, but he used to come to the club a lot, you know, and they would to the cellar a lot, and then they like I think he just maybe knew he was moving or something, so he was always hanging around, and they were like, "Oh, your brother's so nice." I'm like, "He didn't sit on your head and fart?" Because that's what he used to do to me, you know.
Sure.
So
And he's still number 4.
literally, he would sit on my head and fart.
Yeah. That's some older brother shit.
Some older brother shit. And it's totally
My sister used to
disgusting.
pretend that she was possessed by a demon, and my brother used to drag me down a fucking basement stairwell. So we all got issues.
All right.
But
So
Joe's
they're like,
number
he's
4.
so nice, and I think he's like he's mellowed a lot since he's retired and whatever.
That's cute that he's a big comedy fan. And he
I don't know if
watches
he is. I
shows.
think he just liked the fact that they would like give him special attention.
Or maybe be close to his brother.
No.
Yeah.
And then one show.
Maybe.
One show.
That's what I'm
One
picking
show
up
was so
over
funny.
Here.
Lynn Coplitz. Whatchamacallit? What's her fucking name? What's
Lynn
God damn
Coplitz?
it. No, not
Who else?
Lynn.
She
What's
got it.
Oh shit. Anyway, somebody was late. I can't.
It doesn't
What the
matter.
fuck's her
Doesn't matter.
name?
Comic was late.
A
Yeah,
lady
a
comedian.
female comic was
Uh-huh.
late.
Okay.
Black female comic. What's her name?
Wanda Sykes.
No, not Wanda Sykes.
Leslie Jones.
No.
Marina
I don't
Franklin.
Like this.
Yeah, Marina Franklin was late.
Got it. 3rd time.
Marina Franklin was late, so Lynn had to go on host,
Okay.
and that's most people would be like, oh, okay, I'm hosting. She did 10 or 15 up front, but Lynn opened and then did her spot. I don't know if she got paid for both.
Mm-hmm.
So she emceed, then she did a spot,
Yeah.
and then I went on. I was on that show too, and then afterwards I got to talk to my brother and his wife, and they're like, "Oh my God, Lynn's hilarious." I'm like, "Yeah, Lynn's funny," and then they told me what she did. I was like, "What a fuck."
That's not that bad.
I'm like, of course you're gonna think you're gonna like her. She did a half an hour,
Yeah.
and she got to open for herself, and then come back later, and then I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that every show, you know. So I was like, but people don't know. You can't explain comedy to people.
No, it's impossible.
Like, no, it's
Let
like,
him
no,
enjoy the show. You know, it was a little bit of a cheat, but who cares?
I
Let
know,
him
but-
live. Enjoy.
No, but they were
Fine.
like, yeah, you were good, but that Lynn, can we meet Lynn? They like want to meet her.
I
was
know
like,
you don't
"What?"
think this, but I think also it's kind of she also had to go first up to nothing and do a fucking
I know,
half
but
an
I like
hour.
going first because
Yeah, you enjoy that.
No, you get first crack at the crowd.
I don't mind it either. Coming in at number 5.
I don't know. It's gonna get real hard now.
Because now you're starting to not like these people, I would think.
I guess maybe Mary Ann. I'll say Sheila.
Okay. Oh, Sheila.
She's his oldest sister.
Okay.
I mean, Sheila's fucked up beyond. But now I'm starting to like her. She's so fucked up. She's so. She wouldn't go to her. I can't even say this.
Why?
It's not a good reveal for our family.
She didn't go to your father's funeral?
She didn't go to her son's wedding.
That's not. Oh my God. I mean, that's bad, but that's more like drama bad. Like, it's not like a bad person bad. It's like.
Makes me look like a prince.
She's coming in at number
Makes
5.
me, huh?
She's
Makes me
coming-
look like Cary Grant. That I'm. Oh yeah, I get in a
Holy
fight with
shit.
people, but I go to my
Yeah.
kid's wedding. Whatever. No, she didn't like who he's married. I shouldn't even say that. She didn't like. We were just talking about this with whoever.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we talked about it when I had Danny on my show, but
No, you didn't.
anyway,
I mean,
so
it
she did.
happens, and it's really hard to when you don't approve of your son's wife.
Yeah, what would you do? Well, you would go.
I would go.
She didn't want it. She wanted to put a stop to it. She didn't approve of his
Is he
wife.
still married?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now he has to prove his mom wrong.
It's like Woody Allen
No,
and
it's
Sun Yi.
Yeah,
Gotta
you
rock
gotta
it till
make
the
it.
wheels
You
fall
gotta
off.
make it work.
Yeah.
Because then you went through all this, and then you got
Maybe
divorced.
she'll come around because after 10 years of marriage, she might
Maybe.
be like,
I doubt it.
No, she might.
Brennan's
she
know how to keep a fucking
Yeah, that's true.
grudge.
That's true. So
Sheila, come on, it's your son.
so she went to. So I guess she was trying to put a stop to it. It wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So She didn't go, and she got mad at anybody that did go.
Did you go?
No, I wasn't invited, but it was in Arizona. No, but it was like if you know, everybody wasn't invited. Just if it was convenient. Like my brother Tom lives out there, so he went. But so Sheila got mad at my mom and anybody that went. She's not speaking to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
crazy. How long ago was the wedding?
I don't know, maybe like 5 years.
Oh,
Okay. Well, it's hard being the older ones, I guess, too. Cause
Well,
like,
she was like the second mom.
yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, but she loved it. She was kind of mental even back then. She would go. You know, we didn't live on one floor because we had 10 people, so we had like 3 floors. But she would yell up. She goes, "Boys, I'm making cookies now, so don't come down," which is basically like, "Boys, come fuck with me. I'm making cookies." Like, don't tell us. So, what, he's stupid? And then she would in summers. Then in the summer, she would have summer school sessions.
What is she, like a Von Trapp child?
I don't know, but we would go. Billy Graves, the guy with the pubic hair, he would come over because she would go, okay, we're gonna have summer school, and we would like play along just to fucking humor her. But then we were like fucking around. She goes, "I'll cancel class." I'm like, consider it cancel. Like, are you fucking high? We're doing you a favor. Yeah, we're done. We're done with this nonsense. But she loved being like the second mom and she's bossy as shit. But now it might be found that Brennans have like a disorder. Like there's
The Brennan disorder.
It might be her, and I forget somebody else they were talking about that like
You?
Oh yeah, no, somebody I didn't get to yet. But it's just like they're like, it's not like bipolar, but like you get so mad that you can't even like think straight.
Yeah, it's never the opposite. It's never happy. It's just always.
Yeah, you get so happy you can't think straight. It's called your wedding day. Anyway.
No, I'm saying you're never happy. It's just constant anger.
Yeah, no, it's just degrees of anger. So
Yeah.
it's like they were calling it like a disorder or whatever. I was talking to my brother Tom about it and his wife, and he's been married for like 30 years. Fucking crazy. But anyway, so now they think Sheila has it and another sister has it where they just can't. But I think we all have it to varying degrees.
Sure, and yeah, I'm sure it was hard.
I mean, I have it, but I have a podcast to work it out.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
just not going to her son's wedding.
She don't have a show.
Yeah,
Like that'd be a great episode where she doesn't go to her son's wedding.
Mhm.
If she had her own podcast, I'd listen to that.
I'd subscribe to that Patreon.
I would.
Coming in at number 6.
Let me see who's left.
Got to be a couple ladies.
Sheila. I'll say. So we only have Mary Ann and Peter left.
Well, we have 6, 7, and 8 left, and then we know who 9 is.
Yeah,
unless
so
you-
that's Mary Ann.
so Mary Ann 6.
Huh?
Wait, there's a Mary and a Mary Ann.
No, there's a Mary and an Ann
Oh,
and a Peter
and
and Neal.
Yes.
So you could put Neal. I don't care where you put Neal.
so okay, who is number 6?
I don't know.
Mary or
Pick.
Ann?
I
would
don't
say
know these
Ann. I would
people.
say Ann, but
Okay.
it's a tie. They're the
Okay,
same.
that's how we get through 6 and 7 quickly.
Yeah, it's a tie.
Wait, Mary and Ann.
Yeah, they're a tie. They're both.
Okay, we'll put Mary 6 and Ann 7.
I just like that Ann was
Together,
a-
they're one Mary Ann.
Yeah.
Ann's like a professional therapist or whatever, and then
She had a lot of fucking practice.
and then she wrote then she was basically like a mostly I guess married couples she was dealing with or
Mhm.
whatever. Like I don't know if that's a special title for that, but
Yeah, marriage counselor.
yeah, marriage counselor.
Thank you,
but
Adele.
yeah, well, sometimes I just can't come up with the fucking
It's
term.
okay, Kevin.
We're here for you.
So then she wrote a book. I don't know if she wrote, but I remember my mom was like, "Yeah, Ann wrote a book.
Mhm.
Ann wrote a book wrote a book about marriage,
Uh-huh.
and now she's divorced. So there you go for writing your
Pretty
It was
book.
a
funny.
proud moment for your mom. I mean, you know.
No, but it's like she's married to a guy who she don't have no kids. She's married to. I like when people don't have kids or
Gonna
like.
give advice.
I have a lot of
Mom.
I have a lot of answers. I have a lot of answers. Like, okay, you don't have any answers until you've had kids, and then he has kids. Her husband, her ex-husband, has kids, and he was way older than her, and he has a bunch of ex-wives and everything. But she acts like I got this. It's like dealing with every comic. I got this.
Mhm.
I got this. And then you're like, no, you're a fucking idiot. So she wrote a book, like Cuomo did during the middle of a pandemic. So now she. I wonder if she took the book off the Amazon
Yeah,
list.
no,
Maybe
it's a fraud.
She's got to
that
write
book.
a sequel.
She's
Yeah.
divorced.
Divorced.
Yeah.
How to deal with divorce.
So so now we're getting into 6 and 7, and then wait, that's Mary.
That was Mary.
Mary and Ann. Yeah, that was Ann.
That was Ann.
Yeah.
Anne wrote a book.
And Mary, what does she do?
doing?
Mary's, I don't really, I have issues with Mary. Mary's nice to me, but I don't see her very much. But on my birthday, she'll text me. But Mary's tight with Neal.
Okay.
And
now we're getting to the bottom of something.
No, and then Mary's like a kind of a double agent, and she's probably like, I'm just trying to be a good Brennan, you know.
I know those relatives though; they play both sides, you know, depending
Yeah.
on who they're with.
Yeah, who they're talking to.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before.
And then the next is Peter.
He's number 8.
Yeah, Peter was always like Peter's kind of I don't want to say anything bad about Peter because he'll end up murdering me. But
Well, we don't want Peter to murder you. Before we get away from Mary and
we
Ann,
got to
real
do a
quick.
commercial.
Yeah. One word from our sponsors. No, Mary and Ann,
Blue
right?
Chew?
Are they both younger? Like,
Yeah.
and they're
They're
more...
5 and 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3. They're 5 and 6 in order.
Okay, and you're number 8, Peter. How old is he?
No, they're 5 and 6 in the batting order, in the Brennan batting order.
Yeah, I understand. And they're 6 and 7.
Peter's like 7th.
Okay,
Yeah,
but he comes
7.
in number 8.
Yeah, Peter was like Peter was weird because we used to say, it just goes to show how fucked up life is because we used to say Peter was like the black sheep of the family. We used to say because he looked a little Asian.
Okay.
Interesting. No blue eyes.
He didn't have blue eyes. He had like they weren't blue. They were something, but they weren't blue. They weren't like dark. But anyway, so we used to say that that a Chinese laundryman dropped him at our front door, and my parents played along.
That's fucked up.
And now he is the black sheep of the family. So I'm like, did we make this happen with our mind? Like,
yeah, your
probably.
energy, your law of attraction, right there.
it's crazy.
He was
That,
also young.
Huh?
He was younger than you by a lot too. So
no,
if-
but he wasn't like one of the younger kids. He was considered a middle kid. But the fact
Okay.
that he was like we always said, because he looked a little different, that he was a black sheep, and then he ended up becoming the black sheep.
Mhm.
And then at one point, he said, he goes, there's a Thanksgiving. He said something. He said like pussy at dinner, like, oh, that guy's a pussy. So I said, Peter, I don't know what year it was us, but I said, Peter, I go, but Peter was always trying to act cool, you know?
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, that guy's a pussy. I go, I basically called him out on saying pussy at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
So he turns to me and goes, your comedy, this is when I first started comedy. He goes, your comedy career is a joke. He goes, you're not even the funniest one in the family. I go,
That was
who's
Peter.
Yeah, I go, who's funnier than me? He goes, he had a list ready.
Uh-huh. He had a
He
top
go-
9.
He goes, me, Tommy, and Neal. So I was like the 4th funniest.
Uh-huh.
In that.
And that's how he made it to
And
number
then
8.
the funny part was right after
that's how
that,
he's on the shit list.
right
for
after
life.
that, that was like Thanksgiving, and then within 3 months, I quit my day job. I booked Evening at the Improv and MTV half-hour comedy hour.
Nice.
So I looking back, I should have thanked
you.
Peter.
Yeah.
Because it got me so like, wow, this is how my family thinks of me. I was like, fuck this, flip the table. And now I'm going to start booking fucking shows, motherfucker.
Hatred has fueled much of your comedy
Yeah, that's
career.
all I have left.
Yeah. So really,
That's how
it's
it
funny.
started. That's how it's going.
We've inversed the list, but it's really kind of the people that you hate the most are the people you love the most, almost.
Yeah, they give
mean-
me so much.
Yeah, there's a thin line between love and hate at the
There's-
Brennan household.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 9.
I have nothing
Top
to
9
say.
siblings.
I have nothing to say about. I don't.
Can you say his name? It's like
Yeah,
Voldemort.
No, the
over
funny
here.
thing is, I just took there's a picture of Neal at the Comedy
Neal
Cellar.
Brennan, number 9.
There's a picture of Neal at the Comedy Cellar,
Okay.
and they don't even. It was just a picture of him. It's not a headshot, but it's a picture of him. They spelled Neal wrong. They spelled it Neil. So I was looking at because I was like, and he's next to Patrice, William Stevenson, and Hedberg. So he's surrounded by dead guys. So I was like, whoa, one more. So, but I took the picture of. I forgot to put it on my Instagram. I don't use Instagram much, but I like to tease the people every once in a while. Give them a little taste of something.
Sure.
So it's because I feel like they're like my forgotten child, and I'm like, I gotta reach out to my Instagram fans.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I completely understand.
Even though they're probably whatever, they're probably on everything else too. But I was gonna put that because you can only put pictures on Instagram, right?
And
Yeah.
videos.
And videos, so
Videos.
it's for women.
It's-
Anyway, so
So Neal is number 9.
but I was gonna picture of Neal. I'm like, Neal spelled his name wrong because it really looks like he spelled his own name wrong.
That is
Because it looks like a fucking headshot, and then like he spelled his name wrong.
That's kind of cheating to like force it. Like, oh, you assume that's their own handwriting every time you see a picture, right?
No, but I don't even know how that happened, but it's definitely
It
I was
a
like,
manager being like, Neal.
no, it was Neal. No, it's printed. It's like a
Oh,
picture, and at the
plaque.
bottom it says Neal Brennan,
Oh.
but they spelled Neal wrong. So
That
whoever
was-
did it, I don't know if the club did it.
They put the guy who engraved it did it wrong, probably.
Well,
No, but it's not like you got to see it. I'll show it to you after the show.
it
Yeah.
filled you with a lot of joy. That's for sure.
No, it doesn't. But
Seeing
it's like
him
the
fail brings you
no, the
joy.
fans like it. It's a bit for me. It's like a bit that keeps working.
hasn't
It's
the
like
bit?
It's like Stairway to Heaven. It's like at this point I'm like I could take it or leave it, but it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Do
I
you
love
get
it.
confused from the bit sometimes though?
What do you
Like because
mean?
you haven't talked to Neal in many years, correct?
Recently I've been like really dying to text him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he'll get right back to me. That's one thing that Neal's good at. Neal gets right back
He'll
to you.
get right back to you, so
Eh,
do it.
If I call Neal right now, he'll pick up.
You should.
He might not
do
pick up,
it.
but if I text him,
I
he
think
like
he would respond to the text. I don't know if he'd pick up.
yeah,
the
he might
phone
not
call
pick up because he
immediately.
might be.
He might not know what's going
But
on.
he was always good at returning texts like and if I call him he would almost always pick up and I never pick up.
Now, what would you text him?
I was gonna text him something about I don't know, but it was gonna be I think it was gonna be something about all his friends getting canceled or something like that.
So I thought it was
No, because he wants fucking John Legend and his wife to adopt him. Like he wants famous parents. Like he doesn't want anything to do with anybody that's not famous. So he wants to live with John Legend and his wife. I mean, he went to their house for Thanksgiving or something. They had some cooking show that he was on, and there was like a show on NBC, like a Christmas special, and Neal was fucking on it.
That's amazing. Good for him.
Yeah, but it's like
John
but
Legend's children calls Neal Uncle Neal, although Neal has never met Kevin's children, and that's
they
what's-
call him Uncle Neal.
I'm just
They
kidding. I'm
probably
saying.
do. Yeah, Neal's
Kevin
never.
Hart.
No,
Kevin-
it's still. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
Neal. That's why Neal. That's what started with me and Neal officially when he never met my son. My son.
Oh.
My son's my favorite guy in the whole world. Like even now, that's how my wife knows that like if I'm mad at her, that like I'm calming down because I'll start talking to my son.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday,
When
we
you
went.
start talking to your favorite person, she knows that you're calming down a bit.
She knows that the disorder is
The
like.
teapot's starting to
Yeah.
simmer a little bit.
So yesterday I said to my son, I go, you want to, because he was like, can we play basketball today? Because the weekend was shit with rain. So he
Mhm.
goes, can we play basketball today? I go, I don't know, maybe after my podcast. And then after the podcast, I was like, you want to go out? You want to go play? I go, I don't want to, but do you want to? And he goes, yeah. So I think that's how my wife knows. Yeah, but so Neal never met my son, and Neal lived close to where I lived in California when my son was born. So the fact, and my mom was like, well, did you invite him? I was like,
Yeah,
shut
that
the
was-
fuck up.
Good thing I didn't ask. I was just about to ask you that.
Do you
No,
wanna
I
ask-
got to invite him?
You got to like make an announcement the kid is born.
No, no.
Kevin's
no.
argument is Italian people just show up.
Yeah, Italian people. And I said, and if Chappelle.
You're not Italian.
if
You're
Chappelle-
Irish. You don't show your emotions. You
If
gotta, like-
Chappelle had a baby in Africa, Neal would book a fucking charter flight over there. So it's like, or John Legend took a shit, he would go over and take a look at it.
if you
So-
invited him, he
No,
would
no,
come.
you don't know. I already cleared this with Greg Opie Hughes. He said you don't have to invite anybody. They should just come over, especially since it's not like a bunch of siblings live there. Like Neal, or my mom should have told him. Oh, you should go. But my mom's so like, I don't know. So instead of just going, go over to your brother's house, Neal was like, well, he didn't invite me and blah, blah, blah.
Well,
So
100% he should have thought of it himself and gone. That's my first choice.
So
the
that's-
second choice is it should have not happened at all.
what do you mean? I shouldn't have had a child?
If Sale had a fucking kid, you wouldn't need him to invite you.
Of course, but
And
I don't
I'm
want-
Irish, and if my brother and sister have a kid, I'm just going to see them. Regardless, the wounds are still open, folks. Okay, and I hope that Kevin does text Neal, and I hope that you two can work it out.
Are you wrapping up the show?
Yes.
Because I want to do my plugs.
Please go ahead.
Wait, for real? We're wrapping it up?
Yeah.
I thought it was till 4:15.
No, it's until 4.
Oh my God! Wow,
Do you want to keep going?
No,
I'll
I
pay
just
for an
didn't
extra
know.
hour if
No,
you
because
want.
at 3, I could. The clock's right behind you. So you said we only have 60 minutes left. That was at 3:15. So I thought you had an hour.
No, I said we
15.
have less than 60
Oh.
minutes left.
Anyway, my plugs are. What are my plugs? Oh, I'm gonna be at who listens to this?
People, we're starting to get listeners from last week, actually.
On Apple,
thanks for people-
Spotify, and YouTube.
Hey, new people,
listen.
thanks. Appreciate you. Keep
I'm
on
gonna
listening.
be at Soul Joe in Royersford, Pennsylvania. When is that? June 18th.
It was like a Friday.
On
in
a
June.
Friday, yeah. And then a guy made a documentary about me that people seem to like, and it's only doing 55,000 views so far. So I was gonna send that to Neal. I was gonna send the fucking thing to Neal and
That's
go
a good
like,
idea. That's an olive branch.
Called
no.
Almost
It was like
Famous.
it's like Neal. Has anyone ever made a documentary about you? And the guy shits on Neal the whole time. Thank you, Porcelain. He shits on Neal the whole time.
It's a phenomenal documentary. I enjoyed it a great
Maybe
deal.
not an olive branch, but
Yeah,
a
so
gesture, a contact. Just contact.
I was
I'm good with that.
I was just gonna send it to him with no comment, just the fucking
You
just
should
the link.
text him the documentary and
The
say
link.
thoughts.
No, yeah,
He's
say
a filmmaker.
Yeah, you're right. You went to film school for half a year.
I did. You know too
No,
much.
I'm talking.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm talking to Neal. I'm pretending you're Neal. Yeah. So there's that, and go to my YouTube. My YouTube's blowing up. MLC Podcast, and Kevin Brennan 666 at the Twitter. All my links are there. I don't spend a lot of time at Facebook because I'm not 90, and I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram because I'm not a woman, and I'm not on TikTok a lot because I don't know how to find it.
A man without a country. Kevin Brennan, thank you for joining us today. Adele, you want to say anything?
Yeah, thanks for the new subscribers. Subscribe and watch new episodes every Tuesday of Top 9 Podcast, right?
That's it, baby. At Top9Pod, TomCassidy.com. What a world, what a life, what an episode. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
I always stay a little extra in case they don't cut away right away.
You're a
I was
pro.
taught that.
Yeah.
Where you stay on camera and